The last part, and this is really to do with the evolution of Islamic investments, is the introduction of ESG screening to financial investments. So, in general, Sharia provides a comprehensive set of rules and guidance to make any investments. But the traditional sectoral and financial screenings are not sufficient to really capture all the aspects of real estate investments. And today at global level, there is an increased awareness of ESG. So as Sharia compliant investors, we are applying or reviewing our investment criteria in light of these three boxes, which are now commonly accepted. A few years ago, people were talking about SRI, socially responsible investments, and now we are talking about environmental, social, and governance, or ESG investments. So when it comes to environment, we start asking questions like, what is the energy consumption level of a property? The energy consumption, the measurement of the energy consumption is part of a wider set of criteria to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and slow down global warming. So as a real estate investor, so we are aware that typically offices and residentials are some of the major producers of carbon dioxide because they have to be heated or cooled. Yesterday, I was looking at one statistics from the UAE government saying that the UAE has one of the highest per capita emission of carbon dioxide in the world. So we need to measure that. And that is extremely important also from a financial perspective, because if the property is not energy efficient, then it will require in this new environment additional capex, additional investments. Otherwise, it will depreciate very fast. So we not only, of course, we look because it's important that we are responsible towards the environment. That's our religious responsibility. But there is also a financial implication of looking at the consumption. We also ask questions also, what is the impact of the property on the surrounding environment? Once you build a property, it will stay with you for decades. If you look at a city like London, St. Paul Cathedral, that's been there 500 years. If you go to Rome, the Colosseum has been there for 2,000 years. So properties, real estate has a profound impact on the landscape of a city. And it's extremely important to envision or to anticipate what will be the impact. For example, building cheap houses all in one place has created severe social problems in certain cities like Paris, where individuals of families of low income have all congregated, and then crime started breeding. So in cities like the UK, cities, the planning has started moving away in creating mixed communities where you have high income earners, low income earners, all using the same infrastructure, and that has created a better social cohesion. How much waste is produced by the property? That's again another important consideration to be made. And again, these are a questionnaire, questions that enter into the due diligence of a property at the time of acquisition, and every year they have to be refreshed to understand how the property is impacting the surrounding environment. Social screening, it's something that we are a little bit more familiar as a real estate, is Sharia compliant real estate investor. First of all, the question is the property, is the tenant in the property conducting an activity which is harmful to society? And we have our own definitions. We will continue to apply our own set of criteria. Is the tenant positively contributing to the society? Again, these are very important considerations within the not only for us investing in, let's say, non-Muslim countries, but also for the local investors. And if the local investor community believes that the property that we own is occupied by a tenant that is not positively contributing to the society, that the value of the property will decline. Does the property provide prayer facilities and halal canteen? We are looking at this, but I was so pleased to find this question also in the standard due diligence questionnaire of an international manager. Of course, they were a little bit more inclusive, and so they were not only concerned about the halal requirement, they had also kosher, they also had the vegetarian. So in general, they were trying to identify whether an office, okay, had all the facilities that will meet the demand of the employee, so that the employer will be more inclined to rent that office to show that they have an inclusive policy to address all the requirements of their employees. And the last question is, how does the property facilitate access to people of determination? I mean, to eliminate the architectonic barrier has been a major crusade of local communities for a number of years, which is certainly predates the introduction of ESG criteria, but today they squarely fall under the social screening. And finally, the governance screening. So here is to do all about the way we organize the investment. So for example, let's assume that we are buying a multi-family property where there are 300, 400, 500 families. How do we address the demands of our tenants? Do we put in place a tenants association? Do we listen? Do we actively, proactively listen to our tenant? And when we basically borrow money from an Islamic bank, okay, or we create a club of investors where not only our funds but also external investors are participating, what is the level of disclosure that we provide to our investors and our financiers? Is there a conflict of interest between the investment manager and the fund? Okay. Are we disclosing all this conflict of interest? Are there related party transactions from the investor between the investment manager and the funds? Okay. Do we disclose all our fees and expenses? Do we price fairly the assets? So these are all aspects which are measured by independent agencies, and as Islamic investors we have to certainly incorporate.